Oh, Rick Riordan, why do you have to be such a freaking troll? Oh my goodness. Hi, just a quick intrusion from Melissa from the future. I just wanted to say that I will be making Blood of Olympus into 3 parts. So, yeah, just keep an eye out for all 3 parts, and I hope you enjoy. Even just not even getting to the actual book, and just looking at his opening statement for the readers. To my wonderful readers, sorry about that apology for that last cliffhanger. I'll try to avoid cliffhangers in this book. Well, except for maybe a few small ones. Because I love you guys. We love you too, Rick, but really? Oh, you're just sassing us all. You're making us... I just can't even describe even before I started reading, I just wanted to throw the book, my Kindle, against the wall. This book was great. Honestly, it was a really good ending to a great second series, which you don't really see often. Most books, even for their first series, and their last books usually aren't as good. I mean, that was kind of how it was, at least for me, for the Divergent series, Hunger Games, even Harry Potter a little bit, but not as bad as Divergent was. But with Blood of Olympus, it was a great ending. Like, important stuff happened. It wasn't just like tying loose ends without action. Everything was going on. And I think the book, for me, it felt short, but I think it was because so much was going on, and it felt like just everything was happening at once, so it wasn't just spread out events, which I thought that was really good. It kept my attention for the whole time. And then for me, this book was mainly about Leo, Nico, Piper, and Reyna. All 4 of them, they just blossomed in this book. It was unreal. Leo, he was always my favorite new character in this book series. And in this book, he actually seemed more heroic. He wasn't as happy-go-lucky or joking or jokestery as he usually is, which was a big change for him. And I think that's mostly because of what happened in Mark of Athena. Or, no, not Mark of Athena, House of Hades, with him meeting Calypso and him, like, finding someone he loved and actually loved him back, and there was actually, like, a strong connection. And of course the ship was just adorable. And, yeah, he really grew into his heroic self, which I think you could kind of see in the beginning of the series, that he would become an important hero in the book. I mean, obviously the series is called Hero of Olympus, so all of the main characters are probably going to turn out to be heroes, but I think in the beginning of the series it was more like subtle, but then he sacrificed himself, and then he hid the fact that he was only like dead for a little bit and came back to life from his friends in order to go to Calypso. Like, oh my god, oh my goodness, that was just so great. And I don't know. And then of course just Cleo, the whole banter between them. There's just so adorable. I think they are one of my favorite ships ever. Of course, behind Percy and Annabeth, but I'll get to that whole ship afterwards, later. And I'll go to Piper now, who, in the other books, I never really liked. And I think partially it was because she was a new character and I didn't have all of the books from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series to get used to her. But it's also partly because I don't think if she had been a real person, I would have been inclined to be her friend. I wouldn't want to be her friend, which is kind of mean, but being truthful, I think she wouldn't have been a person I would have wanted to be friends with. And it has nothing to do with her personality. I think she's a great person. It's just that we probably wouldn't have clicked. She seems more... I think it was just like her description of being like pretty even though she wasn't trying. It's not a superficial thing, but I think everybody's like, she's trying not to be pretty, but yet she's still pretty. I think that was kind of my mindset. Just kind of shallow of me, but in this book, she completely changed my viewpoint. I think since the beginning, I was just like, I like her now. She is great. Why didn't I see that before? And like I said, it might have been because I needed to see the whole book, to see her whole progression. But yeah, I enjoyed her in this book. She took hold. She took control of Annabeth. She led Annabeth when Annabeth had been freaking out, and her being able to take the lead when someone as strong as Annabeth falls, and yet is still comforting Annabeth to get her through it. I think that's just a great characteristic of Piper. And she was just a whole bunch better. She was, again, another heroic person that it was shining through. Now for Nico and Reyna, I loved that Rick Riordan shared their viewpoints. I mean, of course it was necessary for the plot in order to see what was happening at Camp Half-Blood with the Romans and the Greeks fighting and all that stuff. But it also showed a lot more of them, their background, their feelings, and that kind of stuff, which I thought was really interesting to look into. For Reyna, we got to see her entire background, where she was from before Circe's Island, which happened in the Percy Jackson and Olympian series. But we saw her family background. We saw what kind of makes her tick, kind of like all the happenings with like her father becoming kind of like Jason's mom was, becoming obsessed with the fact that they fell in love with a god and they wanted the god to stay. So it was kind of like that. And then Reyna having to kill her father, or her father's mania as it was described, that I can see why she ran away from home with her sister. And she was just so accepting. Like, it wasn't a very popular trait, I guess, that of the Romans, that they would accept the Greeks as well, but she just took it in stride. She was like, yes, this is the best thing in order to keep us all together, in order to save the world. And especially like towards her sympathy to Nico and how she worked well with Nico and Coach Hedge. That was just great. And then finally, Nico, who, oh my goodness. In House of Hades, I was kind of angry at Rick Riordan for throwing the gay thing in. It wasn't because I'm a homophobe. I'm not. I accept whatever kind of sexuality you are. It just didn't seem to fit Nico with what we had known previously from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and then the beginning books of Heroes of Olympus. Olympus series. But now, with his viewpoint, it kind of was a little bit easier to understand, and I think it wasn't as important in this one. That big, like, surprise. But, yeah, like, his feelings became, like, we got to understand Nico a whole bunch better. And then he just became heroic. He literally was turning into Shadow himself, from Shadow traveling from Greece, well, I think it was from Italy, I don't remember exactly, from either Italy or Greece all the way to Long Island, to Camp Half-Blood. And he was turning into a spirit, and he just had the strength, though, to not really let that happen, and I thought that was just amazing to see from Nico. And then also, on a lighter, more happier note, I loved the banter between Nico and Hades in the, what was that? I think it was the Chapel of Bones or something like that. And it was just great. But then also during that part, it was so sad because, well, a sad kind of happiness kind of thing, where Hades says, "My children are so rarely happy. I would like to see you be an exception." Oh my god, the feels from that. Holy crap. Hades does care for Nico, and just, I think that's what Nico really needed to hear, which, again, just the feels. And then also towards the end of the book, especially, well, it really only happened when Nico was at the Greek camp, but him and Will Solace. Oh my god. I ship them so hard. Like, it's adorable. Oh my god. I think the second Will had come into the picture, I was just like, yep, Nico and Will, they will become a ship. I just love them together. So cute.